May not be a bigger challenge in women's international 15s rugby than taking on the Red Roses. They are on some sort of hot streak, and to talk us through it, out with Ben Donaldson, in with Alicia Lucas. Great to have you back on Rugby Heaven, Quirky. You know, that's your main name, still your nickname.
Yes.
And bringing some fashion
Finally.
to the show, I reckon.
Yeah, well, I brought a little bit of pink in support of Welsh player Georgia Evans. You know, I'm bringing a bit of Barbie to the Rugby Heaven party amongst
It's
a
been
few
a big
old
story,
blokes.
hasn't it, during the week?
Yeah, it has.
Yeah.
She copped a bit of hate online for her presence in the way she dresses and presents when
Wearing
she plays.
pink ribbons,
wearing
is that
pink
it?
ribbons in her hair. So I've worn my pink in support of her today, and
Good on you.
the ability to just wear whatever you want to do has no impact on the way you play either.
They say real men wear pink, and that's why Tim, Shep and I aren't in pink today. But you look fantastic, and not just a pretty face in pink, going to talk us through the biggest stories from Women's Rugby World Cup. How good has the support been, particularly for England as the host, but just on a whole at this tournament?
Oh, the support has been incredible. I haven't seen an outshowing for women's rugby like this before, and the spotlight that's on this World Cup has been phenomenal, and the English fans are showing up in droves. I saw some great pictures of like crop outfields done in design of the Red Rose as well, and
awesome.
there's so many different costumes, and the colour that's coming out of it has been
You know what it's
brilliant.
demonstrated, though, I reckon, for 4 years' time when Australia hosts the Women's Rugby World Cup here, to take it to regional towns, to smaller stadiums, 15, maybe 20,000 seat stadiums like a Ballymore or Gosford, or areas where you don't need a big stadium. You probably need a big stadium for the final, but I think in Australia, that's where we've got to, that's the model that's worked at the moment in England.
Yeah, you definitely need a big stadium for the final.
Yeah.
It's sold out 82,000 already for the final at Rugby World Cup at Twickenham. And definitely, I agree. I think what England's done can show Rugby Australia and the Rugby World Cup Committee for 2029 a perfect blueprint of how you can build on that and then definitely improve.
The final round of the pool matches awaits this weekend. We've just seen, we know the Wallaroos are going to be taking on England, the Red Roses. I'll say it again, they are red-hot favourites to win the entire thing. But we are still a chance of making the quarterfinals. Can you talk us through the situation? What needs to happen for us to get out of our pool after drawing with the USA on the weekend just gone?
Yes, we've got the final game against Red Roses, world number one, huge task ahead of us, but there is 3 routes that we can take to get to the quarterfinal. First one, obviously, win. That's perfect. Emily Chancellor said it. Let's win.
Beauty.
Let's win. That takes out all of the issues involved. The second route is to get a bonus point. So either a 7-point loss, which would be, if we stayed that close to the Red Roses, would be incredible, or 4 tries that we score. And with the
Which is
backline that
very
we've got and
achievable, isn't
how
it?
many tries that we've been scoring throughout this Rugby World Cup, that is perfect. That would be a perfect storm and we would go straight through. The third one, that goes down to points differential. So we're currently on plus 73 and USA are on negative 62. So we've got a huge amount of points in our favour.
So
for that
they
option
play
as well.
Samoa?
They play Samoa and they'll play before us. So the best point, we'll know the mathematical equation when we go into our game.
great.
Hopefully that plays into our favour and we'll know exactly what we need to do to enable to get us to get through to that quarterfinal, which is a huge pass mark for us as the Wallaroos. We need to make.
And as we said, they're scoring great tries, aren't they? Desiree Miller, 5 tries for the competition, second on the ladder. They look dangerous every time they get the ball. The
Caitlin
Wallaroos.
Hulse, like how good she for her age at the moment, to 18 years of age, and we mentioned it last week, she could potentially play 4 Rugby World Cups, and she's been really good. I've been so impressed with her pass. She can pass left and right spiral passes. There's not a lot of girls in the Australian team that can do that, and she's been brilliant.
She has been brilliant. She's really making her mark on this Rugby World Cup, but she'll have a huge test against her this weekend. She's up against Ellie Kildan, who's the World Rugby Player of the Year fullback for England, and she'll also have Mo Hunt and Zoe Harrison, most likely to be named at 9-10, who will be literally kicking that ball. They're so very versed and tactically skilled in kicking, so they'll put her under some pressure, but what an occasion to rise up to. She's had a really great start in those first 2 games, and this is where she can benchmark herself against the world's best.
And it's fair to say Ellie Kildan is pretty widely accepted as the best female player in the world. I mean, probably close to the argument for best player regardless in the world at the moment.
Yeah, and she is, in terms of fullback, her position and backs, most definitely. And I think for Caitlin, that's something that in her journey, hopefully after 4 Rugby World Cups that she gets to play in, that's something that she'll want to emulate. She's never played England before too, so her naivety coming into this game will be huge, I think, for us. She'll just go out there and hopefully play confidently and freely. And, yeah, she gets to match it up against some of the best in the world.
I think what I love about this game against England is everyone expects them to win. Absolutely everyone. So the pressure should really be off. the Wallaroos,
Australia.
shouldn't it?
Yeah.
It should be off them, you know. And you think of some of the people in the group, someone like Piper Duck coming back in. She didn't even expect to be there. How amazing this opportunity is going to be for her to play in a game like this and just be able to go out there and play freely. You know, England is a fantastic side. Former All Black coach John Mitchell speaks a lot about process, where you can see that they're just very polished in almost every aspect of their game. However, you know, this is when teams get beaten. Complacency does start to creep in.
And this game
could be that opportunity.
This game is being played in Brighton at the same venue where Japan upset South Africa in the Men's Rugby World Cup in 2015. So
Isn't that
even the
awesome?
venue has history for
Another
that.
omen.
But
Omen
this
for
would
the
be an
Wallaroos.
even bigger achievement than that was. And they made a movie out of Eddie Jones's accomplishment there, because the Red Roses are on a 29-game winning streak. This could be 30 this weekend. I reckon the Wallaroos maybe stop them in their tracks. But am I right in saying that streak extends back to the Rugby World Cup final at the last World Cup in New Zealand in 2022, where they lost to New Zealand?
Yeah, so they were on a 29-match winning streak up until that moment as well. Then they lost. So they've had 2 bouts of these long winning
They've
streaks.
lost one game and then
That's
after
even better.
59 or whatever it is.
They have
Holy moly.
So that's even
such
better.
an incredible record.
29.
But yeah, it could be the one, you know.
Okay.
Monkey on their back is the Wallaroos.
Now, what about, speaking of back, Pesi Palu, who's the captain, who's been injured, expectation she's back for this game?
Well, the team hasn't been announced to us yet, but we got a text from Alicia, the Wallaroos media manager, saying that she is available for selection. She's back into full training this week, so that's a huge positive for her. My thing will be about how much time she plays and when they play that time. So if she is available, do you start her? Do you put her under the pump against England, or do you keep her to give her the 20, 30 minutes off the bench at the back end of a game? That'll be up to Jo Yap and how she decides to utilise Pesi if she is picked into the team as well. But it's just exciting. It'll be another energy boost and lift for the Wallaroos as well. They're probably a little bit deflated after that draw against USA as well. So if you're going to need a little energy boost and morale booster, nothing like having your skipper back in the
Alicia,
side.
can I ask you quickly, I know we all talk about games and winning and losing in a Rugby World Cup, but wasn't it a great moment to see Samoa get off the bus and be applauded as they got off the bus, and girls crying, and the coach of Samoa talking about how important that is for the girls from Samoa, not just to compete, but be at a Rugby World Cup and then go back home to Samoa and inspire the next generation of girls to play rugby?
Yeah, I think the moments that are coming out of this Rugby World Cup are huge for that influence on the growth of the game. We saw the Panini Pacifica be introduced into part of the Super Rugby this year, and the growth that the Australian government has invested into that. But you want to see that in homegrown in Samoa as well. So they don't have a domestic competition like we are afforded to, or England have a professional competition like they're afforded either. And so moments like that, that's going to inspire a whole generation of young girls that want to pick up a footy and play rugby, which is amazing, because a lot of those Samoan players are mums. They work full time. They've crowdfunded to be at that Rugby World Cup, and so they are just living their best life. And I hope they absolutely do a number on USA this weekend.
we would all love that, absolutely. So we'll be supporting Samoa this weekend. A massive weekend of rugby coming from the Women's Rugby World Cup. Catch it all here on Stan Sport. We've been captivated by what we've seen